Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to do a Halloween inspired graveyard. Now I had so much fun making this. It took me quite a bit of time to try to figure out everything I wanted to use in this build, just to kind of add some continuity and add some overall interest. And I think continuing the ivy trellis along the back is such a great way to kind of enclose everything. And you know, it may not be like spooky, but it's very much Halloween inspired. If it's definitely something you want to do on your island, it is, you know, aside from the spicy elements, of which there really are only a couple. The trees are a spicy element, and the shrine is actually a spicy element, and the flowers. So really there's only not even a handful of spicy elements that are used. So you can definitely incorporate anything you want to into kind of doing your own sort of spooky inspired graveyard. I kind of thought that having two of the Western style stones and then having a Zen style stone in the middle just kind of gave that kind of memorial feel. It just turned out really cute. I think it was such an inspired idea. This is actually Red's shrine. That is a spicy item. I think it just kind of looked like a mausoleum, so I kind of wanted that at the center of the graveyard just to kind of reinforce the idea. And these trees are so cute. I love the idea of placeable trees just because you can have them on a half space, you can have them on really anywhere you want to put them. And I just kind of wanted to bring all of these sort of elements by making it not really elegant, but making it, you know, respectful, as well as obviously it's a graveyard, right? So that is kind of what we were doing. Now there is kind of a spicy element to the flowers. They're a little bit desaturated. Some of the black cosmos actually have a black center, so they look more black, which I think really just kind of added to the spooky vibe, the whole Halloween vibe. And these pumpkin light arches are a thing of genius. I use them pretty much all over this entire island. When something is spectacular, we're going to use it over and over again, right? We're just going to have to. But I did realize that I had put it down prematurely, and so I ended up removing it so that I can add in the pathway. And now these flower pots are another one of my favorite sort of spicy elements. They're not really spooky inspired, but I just think fresh flowers in a graveyard full of dead flowers, I mean, the visual interest alone I think is important. So we're going to use this sort of cobweb path code because I think cemetery, cobwebs, definitely. I did have the idea of maybe putting like the scorpion or the tarantula model kind of is dispersed around. I may actually end up doing that. At the time of filming, it was again a late one, and I was just kind of wanting to get a decent design down for you guys, just to kind of bring home that idea a little bit. And just trying to kind of gauge where I want it to end in front of Rodeo's house, because you know he's our little spooky dude. We're gonna have a lot of fun when we decorate his yard. We really will. And then of course Lucky is trailing the graveyard, probably looking for, you know, his next science project, possibly. Now this pathing I think goes really well with what we were trying to accomplish, because you know it has that purple in it, and it has the the cobwebs, spider webs, whatever you want to call them. And it kind of adds to that overall. It helps to reinforce the spooky vibes, which I think really kind of elevated the build a little bit more. And I really kind of wanted to keep it narrow. I didn't want like a huge trail, just because I wanted to keep the build a little streamlined. And I think if there's too big of a berth, that sometimes you can get distracted, or you think you're gonna have to fill it with something. And this isn't that kind of a build. It's not one that's gonna be like incredibly crowded or like incredibly full. But again, I wanted to add just that kind of, not really majesticness, but very much Halloween vibe. And so with the carriages and the skeletons and most of the spooky items, I think that really helped to kind of drive that home. And of course, the creepy skeleton has to be there. It has to be there, because what else is going to show something potentially coming up out of the ground, right? I mean, that is kind of the whole point, right? And so to kind of fill in this space, we used some shrubs, and then I did a little bit of a horizontal flower pattern. I couldn't really decide how at first I wanted it to look, but then I realized there was a lot of contrasting colors, and so I wanted to try to really continue to bring that kind of unalived feeling to the party. And so I really kind of like this diagonal approach with the flowers, because then it kind of adds the little detail that we needed and the overall appeal. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I will see you on the next one. Bye.